I have been looking at some of the more competitive looking lists lately, and one of these that has been brought up in the Discord actually quite a while ago from our good friend Jim Dyson. He called out a combo here that would be incorporating Minako Rei into the Asami lists, and I wanted to go over, kind of break down this combo, what it looks like, how rough it can be, but also this just is a lot of fun. If you're a Asami player, this might actually have me wander an eye towards Oni. Enough about that. So let's talk about this. Painful paper people. Honeypot flavor. We have our list, which is Asami and her totem, Amanjaku, and we are working with Lady Yume, and out of keyword we're hiring an Ototo, Gwyneth Maddox, which is the Honeypot flavor. And then Minako Rei is technically out of keyword, but she's also versatile, so she can never be banned. And a couple of the new Terracotta Warriors with Nefarious Pact. If they ban Honeypot, you can bring in Sensei Yu to do this. I'm not going to talk about the monk version for this video. I think going over two different lists, the breakdown of two different styles, is going to be a lot. So I'm just going to focus on the Honeypot flavor. So Asami herself, we are going to be looking a lot at Violation of Reality, which is after a friendly Oni within 3-inch aura declares a charge. Instead of a push, they can place up to their move and then take a melee action as normal. So she herself is an Oni, so she can always just kind of jump around at a 5-inch leap, pseudo leap, so to speak. And then from the mod they come, this is a range 6 summon, allowing her to really just throw summons instantly in your face. We are obviously going to be going for the Spider Boys, Jorogumos. Those require a 13 of masks in order to summon. And if we have a crow in there, she can take damage, irreducible damage, to remove flicker tokens from the minions that she summons, and we'll talk about that later. The Mother's Love, friendly only. This is going to be the other one that we're going to work on. And if she gets hurt, we can heal her back up with Insatiable Hunger. Amanjaku, we're not going to be doing much except for charging and drawing a card off of it. Or looking at the cards, I should say. Lady Yume, her Warp the Veil. This is what we're going to be using to filter the deck as best we can. Once per activation, after any model is placed within 6-inch aura of her, she can look at the top 2 cards of that model's fate deck. In this case, we're going to be looking at our own. This model may discard any non-Joker card looked at with a value of 5 or less. I'm assuming that we're putting them back in the same order because it doesn't explicitly state putting them back in any order. And when we go through this, that's how we're going to be playing this. And then from Two Worlds, this is how she's going to be drawing us a card. So I found that I'll just toss a flicker token on Amanjaku, and because it says when this model activates, it may place a flicker token on a friendly model within 6-inch aura with From Beyond, or choose a friendly card removed from the game and discard it. That's her nightmare, half of this ability. After doing either of these two things, go ahead and draw a card. All of her placement stuff is enemy only, unfortunately, so we cannot coil around prey for ourselves, nor can we hole in the world ourselves. So her activation, she's really in it for her aura. Ototo is hard to kill, armor 1, and Juggernaut, but mostly what we need him for is his concealing shadow markers. Now, I've seen this played, and I wanted to really call this out, is that the second half of this Storm is coming. So he has a range 6, he needs a 5. With this build, we want a 5 of masks, so we can proc that once per activation from Lady Yume we just talked about. And the second sentence is, if this model has line of sight to a friendly leader, models within 2-inch pulse of the shadow marker must each pass a duel or gain slow. So this is ignores friendly, ignores enemy models. This is every single model within a 2-inch pulse. I've deployed in a very specific way, and I'll be calling that out, and kind of the jumping around intent. And Juggernaut, to heal himself back up, I am going to be smacking him a little bit with Gwyneth before he activates. Gwyneth is in here out of keyword. We want her for Rig the Deck +3, which is really good as far as trying to really keep those cards in hand that you need for summons. And then Card Shark has Deja Vu on it. So discard a card and draw 2 cards. We've seen this in Molly before. And lastly, Hit the Jackpot, which is kind of neat. Look at the top 3 cards of this model's fate deck if none of the revealed cards value equal to what the opponent chose, because they choose 0 to 14. Draw 2 and discard the other. Otherwise, you discard everything and then the opposing player draws a card. I love funny little random abilities like this. It's just so cool and fun. It makes the game a lot of fun for me. Minako is going to be creating Katashiro. That's all she's going to be doing. We got to be within range 3. The shadow marker combination here coming from Ototo is remove a scrap or friendly shadow marker. If the shadow marker was removed this way, then increase the action stat by +2. So she gets to go from a stat 5 to stat 7, which means instead of needing a 12, she needs a 10 of tomes. She still needs a suit. And then summon a friendly Katashiro with slow anywhere within range of the 3 inches and give it a flicker token. And then Equality of Fate, not likely to happen, but if it does, she can bonus action draw you a card, which would be pretty cool. Looking at Terracotta Warriors, like I said before, all we really, they got move 4, they can only ever take 1 damage, this is kind of neat. And then Nefarious Pact to draw a card. On turn 1, we're not really worrying about take the hit or numbskull, but you know, Mold of the Other is kind of cool. At someplace in the game, if they survive, they can bring back more summons without flicker tokens on them, which is even cooler. That's a cheeky little combo. If you get that off, that's even better. Now, when Asami summons somebody, they attach this plentiful upgrade. So she can summon up to 5, and after attaching this upgrade, the model gains 2 flicker tokens. It may then remove any number of corpse or scrap markers within 1 inch pulse and discard a flicker token for every one they do. And then at the start of the model's activation, it gains a flicker token from the impermanent form ability. This is essentially her summoning something from beyond. They have limited time on our plane to beat people up, and then they go poof. If you're not familiar with flicker tokens, let's take a look at From Beyond really quick. So before performing a duel, any duel, can be offensive, defensive, whatever, this model may gain a flicker token to receive a positive to that duel and any damage flips it generates. So it's a free focus. After any model ends its activation, if this model has 3 more flicker tokens, it is killed. They don't have any stats that would leave scrap or corpse. They just go poof and disappear into the void. Whenever Asami summons something, they're already at 2 out of 3. And then when that model activates, it also gains a flicker token. So at the end of that model's activation, they typically go poof. However, Asami has ways of pulling flicker tokens off. Jorogumos in specific have this Devour Souls ability that lets them remove a flicker token every time they kill something, and they are real nasty. They've got extended reach, eat your fill, and a 2-inch glaive with puncture and delay. It's wonderful. These are amazing top-notch minions. They cost 9, so they are expensive. If you hire them though, you get Herald. Katashiro, this is what Minako is going to be summoning. She should hopefully be making 2 of them, and they are super cool as well. Blade Rush, made to kill. They also have the From Beyond Flicker shenanigans going on, as well as Devouring Souls to stay on the board. Their front of the card is pretty stacked. Defense 4, Willpower 4 with 5 wounds and 5 movement. These are just amazing summons. So think about this for a second. Whenever you summon something, it counts as a place. Made to kill, after this model is placed, it may take a melee action after resolving once per activation. And then the clause has gain a flicker token to essentially onslaught, unnatural speed, take this action again. They're within 3-inch aura of Asami, they charge, and their charge will generate 2 attacks because the first one will be a made to kill attack, the second one will be from the charge. And then if you get the trigger, you could essentially get 3 attacks off of 1 action. And then you smack them again with claws, potentially 5 attacks if you get super lucky or they get real sad. And then you can blow them by the wind and go wherever the heck you want in 5 inches. No TN, just place your model anywhere within range. These are amazing models, so let's go play with them. Coming out of it, I have deployed, again, random deployments, random map, random everything except for the list. Now, I was talking about line of sight with Ototo against Asami. We do not want that. That is bad. So we are going to do a little scooting, and give me just a minute. I'll fast forward through it for you. Okay, this line of sight is irrefutable that it is blocking. Minako up here is intended to be hanging over the edge just a little bit, so that way she's pseudo base to base. And that way, when Ototo comes up over into this area, his line of sight is still going to be blocked to Asami. Minako is a size 2 on top of a size 2 box, and Lady Yume is a size 3. Ototo is, frustratingly, a size 3, so he can't use a bunch of size 2 bodies to block his line of sight. And that's why we're doing all this dance. Okay. Shuffle our deck a few times, draw cards. 7-card hands are super great. Burn a card, and we have a couple crows in hand, which is going to be excellent for Gwyneth. Our goal, just to reiterate what we're looking for here, is going to be to get 2 10 of tomes in hand and a 13 of masks in hand. We have 5 stones to do it and a bunch of activations. So these will be reserved for Gwyneth's turn. And right off the bat, we're just going to go. So activation 1. Amanjaku. Amanjaku is going to charge because he's within 3 inches of Asami. He gets to leap, essentially. He gets a full 6 inches. I am just going to place him over on the front end of this box. Little size 1 dude. And because we see him with Lady Yume, we get a look at the top 2. Number 1. Number 2. We will discard that 1. We don't want it. We've got a 6 of crows on top. So I actually kind of want to keep this 13 of crows now. This is actually a really good card for Asami if we do it right. Amanjaku has charged and he's going to focus, and that is all he's going to do. I'm going to go with Gwyneth. She's going to rig the deck. We're going to go 1, 2, and 3. We're going to put 3 cards back on top. I would like to keep a 10, and I will get rid of this 4. So we're going to stack it like so. 2 and a 4. And then we throw a 6 of crows. She will card shark. Willpower duel against Ototo. Ototo will relent. We flip our crow. And then at the time of declaration for Deja Vu, you discard a card to declare the trigger. We discard this 1. 3 cards pick the worst. That's unfortunate, but oh well. We discard that. Ototo takes 1 point of damage. And then we draw 2 cards based off of Deja Vu. Okay, there's a 13, there's a 9. We are over the hand count, so we're gonna pitch 7. And we can cheat this 5 for our next attack if we don't get a crow. So we attack again, looking for a crow, don't get a crow, we cheat the crow. Ototo relents, we discard a card to declare Deja Vu. 3 cards pick the worst. Ototo takes 1 more damage. We draw 2 cards. Give us something good. Hey, there's 1. And finally, we are going to use her hit the jackpot. So we're going to have the objects go away and use the random number generator here in Vassal. Opposing player must choose a number between 0 and 14. So we will go to 15, and this is going to be the result. Whatever the result is, -1 to account for the value of 0. And we rolled an 11. So our number that the opponent pseudo called out is a 10. Now we reveal the top 3 cards, hoping we miss 10s. 1, 2, and 3. Wonderful. We miss it. If none of the revealed cards have value equal to the chosen number, draw 2 of them and discard the others. So I think we're going to go ahead and draw this red joker and probably this 11. Discard the 3, and we have 2 cards to get rid of now at this point. Get rid of the 5, and let's get rid of the 10. Boy, that was a turn. So thank you, Gwyneth. You have finished your turn. Let's just start drawing some cards and see if we can get our 13 mask at this point. We've gone through a fair number of our deck, and we haven't seen the 13 mask. So let's see if we can manifest it. We'll go with the Terracotta Warrior down here. I'm gonna walk 1, 2, 3, 4, and interact to drop a scheme marker, because hopefully Asami will be over here and summoning, and with the cards we have, she's also going to be taking some damage. At the end of your turn, we draw a card. Nefarious Pact. Anything good? Nothing good. Moving on. Other Terracotta Warrior. is going to focus and we'll interact back in our own deployment zone. Mark you moved, draw a card. That's an 11. Let's get rid of this because masks are more valuable. Okay, so now we go with the Ototo and the storm is coming. So we need to find a 5 of masks. We look for it, we don't get it, so we will cheat in our 9. We will declare unexpected smoke bomb. Let's throw a 3-inch aura off of Minako and make sure that our shadow markers go where we want them to be. Ototo can drop them anywhere within 6, but we'll just place it right here for now. We will now check to see if Ototo has line of sight on a friendly leader, which he does not because we haven't moved anybody, and now we're going to place him in a base contact with the shadow marker. Once he's done that, he has placed within 6 inches of Lady Yume. Was the whole point of that. So we will now flip 2 cards and put, interesting. Discard anything, but we have to put them back in order. So 8 goes down, there goes our 11 of tones. We have a choice. Unfortunately, 11s are bad because it's a TN of +2 when Minako removes a shadow marker. So we will unfortunately burn that 11 of tones that we know is coming, actually cheat over top of it by doing the storm is coming one more time. So 11 goes there, we cheat over it with an 8, we drop our other shadow marker up here. And then Ototo is going to jump up here. The good thing is we know there's a moderate in the deck. What we can do is discard a card to heal. I don't really want to. This is a really good hand, so we're going to leave it as it is. Toto is done. Let's go with Minako. Minako is going to summon a Katashiro. Create Katashiro needs a 12 of tones. She has to either pull a shadow marker or a scrap marker, no matter what. And that's part of the requirements from the first sentence. We will pull the shadow marker off the board, flip a card. We need a 10 of tones. We don't get that, so we're going to go ahead and cheat that 10 of tones. And then we will summon a Katashiro within 3 inches, and we're going to leave that Katashiro right here with slow and give it a flicker token. So we'll give it a flicker token, and we will go slow. We're going to do it again with this one up top. So we're going to go again looking for a 10 of tones. We don't really feel confident, so we're going to burn a stone. Go down to 4, flip a card. We get a 5, so we will go ahead and drop this 11 to bring in our second Katashiro. I will summon this Katashiro just kind of over here. And the whole purpose is I would like to have them within range of Asami's bubble to get a free place on their charge. Because they're size 2, Katashiro will go there. That's Minako going 1, 2. We'll go Lady Yume at this point. Lady Yume is going to activate and do her From Two Worlds. She will give Amanjaku a token to draw a card. And then she is going to focus and declare a charge. And she has a movement of 5. She's within the 3 inches of Asami. I'm going to place her over here, and she's going to look at the top 2 cards, 1 and 2, and put those back in that order. We'll go with Asami, and she is going to charge. This Katashiro is slow. She's got a 5 inches, so I need her to charge over to here in order to really put some threat in the world. And she's gonna, from the maw they come, once per turn, she will declare Jorogumo. I'm definitely going to be spending a stone instead of cheating this. Stone goes on to the mask, and we know it's not a black joker, which is great. We do summon the Jorogumo because we're gonna cheat in this 13 of crows. And from me is the trigger that we get. So they would normally come in with two flicker tokens because of the summon upgrade that goes on. She's actually gonna only do 1, take 1 irreducible damage. This Terracotta Warrior's scheme placement could have been better just based on how things are floating. So that's something to consider when you're taking damage on Asami. And then we're gonna do a Mother's Love on that Jorogumo, which is a tactical, so it does not get impacted by the concealment there. And we just need a 4. Again, we know it's a moderate, so that's great. It's not going to fail. We're going to lose the other flicker, and we're going to turn it into an actual piece of focus. No space for a bonus action. We're fine. We got a Jorogumo on the board, and it does not have slow. So we have done it. I mean, this is where we're at. This is just, it's what it is. And this is just turn 1, you know, just turn 1 Asami things, no big deal. And Jorogumo on the board. You're probably going to get another Jorogumo out there. We didn't even see our 13 of masks. I am curious where it landed. It was the very next card. That's pretty funny. There it is. But getting Lady Yume ability to just chuck and discard your weaks is so great. It's really strong. That's where we're at. That's what we're looking at. Thank you for sticking with me through this all this long. Like I said, the other version of this with the, if you get banned on Honeypot, then the monk version with Sensei Yu is going to be able to give out some fast, which is pretty cool. But for the most part, this is good enough to show you what you're going to do. Gwyneth would go away and you would replace Gwyneth with Sensei Yu. Talking about counterplay now, I was reaching out to somebody in the Discord and trying to discover what's a good way to counter this. So Brody was really kind to be able to talk with me in DM. I had a bunch of questions about how this all goes. And Brody had a game in the World Series where his opponent was playing super aggressive in your face, because if you're going against this Asami list and you let Asami just kind of do exactly what I showed you, this is really, really, really tough already. I think you're already on your heels trying to figure out what to do with the Jorogumo. That game was really interesting to watch because it was basically 2 kaijus going at it, and the luck of the cards really determined the outcome. It was a razor's edge, could have gone either way. But back to kind of talking about how you kind of counter this. If you suspect this issue, then you would want to probably ban Last Blossom, because if you do that, then the summons for Minako actually have to start hitting 12s. You can't pull off shadow markers because now you don't have a Toto, and the Toto is the one that's giving you shadow markers to lower your TN and just make her summons that much better. So I think that's probably the best option for counters if you're playing bans. And if you're not playing bans, the goal would absolutely be kind of Alpha Strike. Swing, come in hard on Asami or Lady Yume. Lady Yume is unlocking a lot of deck manipulation for getting rid of just bad cards in general for the turn. And Asami is the one that's summoning the real big nasty threats of the Jorogumos. If you get an opportunity to take out Lady Yume, that would be one place to go. Manipulating Ototo in different positions is another one that's kind of tough with his mask trigger, but again, those would be the 2 targets. But if you have primary target on Asami, and Protected Oni is just going to be also really difficult to get through. So AoE damage, shockwaves, triggers that move your opponent around, surgical extraction, I guess, is what I would recommend. Find a model, pull it way out, the lure with a bring it, something along those lines, and make them come to you. Barbaros comes to mind if you're running him as a leader. He's got 3 AP and can bring it a couple times and then still swing, shove aside, push you into his Nephilim crew, which are also nasty, hard-hitting monsters. There is something to be said there. This isn't an impenetrable wall by any means, but it is definitely something to think about. Anyway, I hope you learned something here. I would love to hear what you have to say about it in the comments, especially if you've played this or played into it. I really want to hear how it went. I want to know what you thought was a good counter play, or if you're trying to pull this off, what were you struggling with? This is just a fascinating combo to me, so let me know how it goes. As always, have fun, be a good opponent. See you in the next one.